Okay, so let's start with a story I think we all know. Aladdin.
The magic lamp, right?
Exactly. You find the lamp, you give it a rub, and this all-powerful being pops out to grant you 3 wishes. It solves everything.
It's the ultimate fantasy of control.
It is. But today we're doing a deep dive into a set of sources focused on Matthew chapter 7 that argue that this very fantasy, well, it's a huge spiritual misunderstanding.
A pretty dangerous one, according to these texts. We're looking at readings for January 27, 2026, and they draw this really sharp line between 2 models of prayer.
Right. The Genie model, which is transactional.
And the Father model, which is relational.
And one of the sources even calls this the Genie fallacy. I found this fascinating because when you actually look at the Aladdin story, the power dynamic it's completely backward.
It really is. The genie seems all-powerful, but he's actually a prisoner.
He's bound to the lamp. The person holding it is the real boss.
Exactly. And the critique in these texts is that when we pray with that genie mindset, we're sort of trying to be the master.
We want a God who's powerful enough to fix our problems, but also, subservient enough to do it exactly how we want when we want.
But the Matthew text flips that entirely. It presents God not as a cosmic servant, but as a sovereign father. He isn't bound by our wishes.
Which brings us to probably the most famous and maybe most misused verse in this entire passage, Matthew 7:7. Ask, and it will be given to you.
It sounds like a blank check, doesn't it?
It really does, like rub the lamp, get the wish.
But our 7-step QT note source specifically warns against stopping there. It argues that this promise only makes sense in the context of the relationship that Jesus describes right after.
The analogies he uses in verses 9 through 11, the Father, the Son.
The bread and the stone.
Yeah.
The fish and the snake.
Yeah.
And one source, the measure of mercy. It breaks this down so well. It says, look, obviously if a son asks for bread, a good father isn't going to give him a stone.
Right, that's the easy part.
But the real insight is the other way around. If a child asks for a snake, maybe thinking it's a toy or something, a good father won't give it to him.
Wow. That reframes the whole idea of unanswered prayer for me.
It does.
What we think is God ignoring us might actually be a father protecting us. He's refusing to hand us a serpent we asked for.
That's it. It redefines rejection as protection. The genie gives you what you ask for, even if it might destroy you. The Father gives you what you actually need, even if it frustrates you at the time.
And that idea of trust seems to be the key to the next section, which I honestly used to think was a totally different topic.
The log and the speck.
Yeah, the bit about not judging people, I always saw it as a separate command. But looking at these sources, it's all part of the same thought.
It's completely connected. You can't separate them. The text flows from how God treats us with generosity to how we are supposed to treat other people.
It's the golden rule right there in verse 12.
Precisely.
So if you want God to view you through the lens of a gracious father, giving you bread instead of stones,
you can't turn around and view your neighbor through the lens of a harsh, critical judge.
You can't be trying to pick a tiny speck of dust out of someone's eye when you've got this giant log sticking out of your own. The sources say you can't have it both ways.
You can't ask for a good father for yourself and then act like a judge toward everyone else.
So for you listening, this deep dive really boils down to a shift in posture. We're moving away from the magic lamp where we demand control.
And toward the family table where we have to learn trust.
And that's the difficult part because it means giving up our own definition of what's good.
Exactly. The genie lets you define what's good. The Father asks you to trust his definition.
Which leaves us with one last question to think about. If these sources are right, and sometimes an unanswered prayer is really just protection from something harmful we don't understand, are you brave enough to accept a good gift from God that looks nothing at all like the wish you made?